Holla to you, all my New South Empire, wonderful and fantastic fun, StarMan Filmz Global family of winners. It's your winner, Fitzhugh, Sergio Favors Huff. I'm going to read a disclaimer for the show. The Winners Podcast is a show centered around U.S. politics, pop, news, culture, and relationship that dynamics satire. StarMan Filmz Global is an entertainment channel. StarMan Filmz Global and the Winners Podcast are not responsible for the statements, claims, or opinions of any guest. With that being said, I want to say hello, everybody. We got Valerie coming on at 8 o'clock. Timothy Stewart's coming. Adam won't be able to. He's stuck on the island. Yeah, as we know, he just moved to Hawaii. So he won't be on the show. We have some very, very interesting topics again, as usual. And we're going to be discussing and dissecting them. Our first topic is, wow, why is this doing this like this here? I want to get out of there. Is that why? That 10 post got to go. I got some pins. All right, our first topic, guys, is Sawyer. Can you put up the one about the Chinese special forces? Is that a clip or is that an article? I believe that's an article, right?
Small.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to read it, guys. China has carried out a military exercise that analysts say stimulates a rapid decapitation strike, the kind of operation designed to neutralize an enemy's leadership at the very start of a conflict. The drill reportedly involved elite forces, precision targeting, and fast insertion tactics, and has been widely interpreted as a warning aimed at Taiwan. What made the exercise stand out wasn't just the tactics, but the message behind it. Observers noted clear similarities to U.S.-style operations built on speed, surprise, and leadership disruption, signaling that Beijing believes it can execute the same kind of high-risk, high-impact mission. Beijing wants to send a chilling message. China believes it can do what America does and is prepared to prove it. And the subtitle is Chinese Special Forces Carry Out Venezuela-Style Decapitation Drill. First thing I'm going to say is most folks are going to say, if the United States can do it, they can too. But I want to know, I'm going to ask you guys something. Do any of you guys consider China as a serious threat? Or do you even feel that they want any conflict with the United States? Starting with you, Marlo.
I will say that China stands 10 toes down when they say they want to do something. I think they have the technology. I think they have the resources. I think they have built allies that are currently kind of against America. I'm not saying America lost any of their allies, but our allies are not stabilized right now. But I would say,
who are China's allies?
They're talking with Venezuela. They're talking with Russia. They're talking with UK. They're talking to everyone that we talk to bring them aboard on what their tactics and their.
But they're not their allies. They're not their allies. I think Russia and North Korea are their only allies
that we know of.
Because
ours is unstable right now. Even though everyone is still our allies, they're aggravated with us. They're not.
What about India?
India is generally on the outscope of everything. I don't think people really think too much about India. Not saying that they don't have a stance, but I don't know how people perceived on them even being a threat of any kind to any nation.
Okay. Sam, I'm going to ask you, if Russia, North Korea, China, let's say India, were to raise up against the United States, do you think they stand a chance?
Strategically, no, without mentioning nuclear, because Russia's number one when it comes to the amount of nuclear arms. The U.S. is second, China's third, and they're definitely growing their arsenal. And then you have to look at what you mentioned earlier and what Marlo mentioned is that the BRICS countries. BRICS is made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and they have about 19 applications of other countries. And basically, BRICS, the BRICS countries have formed a partnership that they're trying to like utilize their own currency, go back to the gold standard of trade. Instead of a yen, instead of the US dollar, they want to go just back to gold. So I think China's influence is everywhere. I think they own a large percent of the Congo because they front a lot of money to a lot of countries. And when it's time to collect, the only thing they accept is gold. And if you can't give them gold, then they take property.
So, okay. Are the Russian nuclear capability intercontinental?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what about China?
Yes.
North Korea is testing theirs for
No,
intercontinental.
North Korea has, and a lot of countries have ICBM capability, but every country doesn't have hypersonic. North Korea has hypersonic. They just gave their hypersonic missile body or shells to Russia, and China also has hypersonic. And the difference between the ICBM, the intercontinental missile, is it could be shot out the air by a jet. But if it's hypersonic, a jet can't shoot a hypersonic missile out the air because it's going too fast. It can't even be read by a lot of radars.
Okay.
And
So shit was to hit the fan, and we had to go to war with them. We would have a battle on our hand, even with our allies. Will we have a serious battle on our hand?
I think so.
Without enough military bases in Greenland, right now we only have one in Greenland.
And nobody else does neither, right?
Nobody does what?
Russia and China doesn't have a base in Greenland.
No, Greenland just allows them to port sometimes, utilize their ports, but the only actual physical base right now is the U.S. And I think the U.S. wants to have about 6 or 7.
And they don't want them to.
Well, they're going to do it. It already got confirmed yesterday.
It got confirmed?
Oh, yeah, they caved.
Oh, because they didn't want any parts of the U.S.
They said that, but they caved. If you see all the speeches for the WEF that they had today, everybody's basically confirming that Trump basically got what he wanted. And basically he wants to do 6 or 7 bases because it's not about the metals. It's not even necessarily about the military bases. It's about data. They're doing all these the AI, which causes it needs a lot of heat or it generates a lot of heat. One of the coldest countries is Greenland. So they need that climate to cool those data stores. And that's why he wants to have all those military bases, is to protect those AI data storage, those data banks, because you wouldn't be able to do it with the cost of the to cool everything. So if you have an Arctic region, you can kind of just have fans blowing that cold air through those processes.
Okay, so basically what Trump was trying to do was making Greenland our golden dome, correct?
Yeah, that was the main reason. He talked about buying Greenland back when he first ran for president, and a lot of people thought he was joking. But FDR, the U.S. has been trying to get Greenland since they bought Russia in the late 1800s. You know, when they bought Russia, I mean, when they bought Alaska from Russia, they was trying to get Greenland also from Denmark.
So what will happen to the Russian and Chinese nuclear subs that surround Greenland? If we get more bases there, they got to go, right?
Well, I think by that time it's going to be a form of partnership, because I don't think Russia and China are being treated as an enemy. Because you have to think, if China's the enemy or Russia's the enemy, they're still supplying like at least 25% of the crude to Europe, to Germany, to all these countries. All these countries also that are going solar, they're getting all their stuff from China. So you can't really be an enemy. That's what's kind of like hypocritical when the US says, okay, we're going to sanction you, or Europe says we're going to sanction Russia, when they're still buying oil from Russia. They're just lowering the amount that they buy.
Okay. So it's safe to say that
Okay.
the United States cannot stand alone.
Of course not.
I think as far as our weaponry, like no country has more advanced. The only thing that we don't have more advanced is we don't have nuclear hypersonic capability. Like it's been failing.
And why don't we?
Just because the US has been outsourcing all this stuff, and they're saying the same thing with Greenland. They don't want NATO to man the bases because that's outsourcing the security of America. They want basically Americans to do that. Like you never can rely on something you outsource. You know, nobody's gonna protect something more than somebody that owns it.
Okay. Good. I learned something as usual, as I do on our own show. Learn something every week. The next topic is.
Oh, could I
Yeah.
post just one thing, just so people can have a visual? Sergio, could you just post what I sent you? It'll like show what all these presidents in the US have been wanting to do and how important it is. So basically, you have Russia on top, the Mongolia, and then China at the bottom. And you see Greenland in the middle to where the US is, DC. Every missile fired has to go over Greenland. That's the reason why the US formed Space Force. Space Force isn't like going in the outer space or even inner space. It's basically there to like start practicing and studying and working on technology to shut down any missiles that come over Greenland. So that's where the Golden Dome is going to be.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the Golden Dome is going to be in Greenland. That's the reason why he wants all these bases to put all these things, these deterrents and things that can stop supersonic missile, a hypersonic missile, ICBM. That's basically what Greenland is going to be, the Golden Dome to the US.
Wow. Very, 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 very informative. Very informative. I think we need our partners. I think we do need our partners. But yeah, we need to work on we got some stuff to work on if they got supersonic and we don't. Anyway, our next topic. Huh?
Yeah, hypersonic.
Hypersonic, yeah. I'm thinking about Oaktown 357, ain't I? Talk about supersonic. All right, let's go on to the next topic. I really wanted to address this. One of my friends, I don't know if I can still call him friend or not, but I consider him my friend, but he hasn't unfriended me and he does communicate with me, but he says some harsh things. Good thing I'm tough skinned. He said, this is what he posted. This is
What?
so ridiculous and so sad at the same time. I gave him the sad emoji when he did that. He said, "We will," meaning him and his wife, will be watching Dr. King movies all day today. We listen to and we will listen to the entire speech also.
Mhm.
So I don't care nothing. So don't care nothing about him. I have no feeling for those that don't. So some don't care nothing about him. I have no feelings for those that don't. So I expect to be pissed off now. And he did copy me, did all caps. I expect to be pissed off all day today. If you don't know why you didn't grow up in the 50s and 60s and 70s, I'm watching Selma now. This dude literally said that he's gonna watch these movies by mere imperfect movies, directed and produced by mere imperfect human beings about slavery to get pissed all day. That's a fucked up mentality. There's something wrong with that picture. And in the comments, I stated to him, how can you let a mere movie made by a mere imperfect human being about something in the past that you can't do nothing about rent free space in your head and mess up your present day? That's baffling to me. I said, I love you, my winner. Life is too short to be shortening it with something that's not even relevant now. You know, I'm quite sure I'm not the only one that run across people still stuck in slavery. But it's just baffling to me if I watch a movie and it affects my mental to that effect. If it affects my mental, I want to either go to therapy, I'm going to get a medication, or I'm not going to watch the movie. Well, what's your thoughts on that statement made by our winner, Marlo?
I think everyone has their vices. I think everyone has their own form of reconnecting with the struggles that our ancestors went through, fought through to provide you to sit up here today on your podcast and speak freely. It's okay.
Hold on. I don't mean to cut you off, but I do. It was going to happen anyway.
Why?
It was going to happen anyway.
What was going to happen?
For us to get the freedoms that we have anyway.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Without the fight, without the struggle, without the commitment?
I'm positive. I'm positive. But go ahead.
Well, I didn't lose my train of thought, but with that being said, I don't mind revisiting and educating myself or getting myself familiar with the struggles that my ancestors or even my parents, because my parents was much older when they had me. So my parents was in their 90s. So they dealt with a lot of segregation. You know, my mom from Louisiana, my dad from North Carolina, but I'm from up north. So I didn't deal with all of that. I was born in the 70s. So them being born in the 20s and having to deal with that in 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. Yeah, I understand it doesn't oppress me. I mean, but it's okay for me to still touch back and see the strifes and the struggles that these people went through in order for us to get to where we are today, and not to sit up here and diminish what they have done or minimize.
Okay, right, that's fair. Okay, but once you have learned all of that, have you truly overcame? If you have to keep going back to look at that,
it's okay to go back and reminisce. So should I forget something that I lost in the past and never think of it again?
I didn't say that.
That's what those people are doing. They're still just, that doesn't mean you're going to hold on to it. I don't mind going back. Certain movies I don't watch again because it was kind of horrific and it was heart-wrenching. So I don't watch certain movies again, but certain movies can be entertaining, or
especially if you know it's going to piss you off all day.
Well, that's why I don't watch Roots, you know. Right. I mean, right. You know. You know, those, you know, certain movies. I don't go back and watch Precious. That had nothing to do with slavery. It had to do with how ill she treated her daughter and what she went through. So certain movies, regardless of the title and regardless of the script, some things touch you or affect you either way. You know, so certain.
And then later down in the comments, he had nerve, that person had nerve to say, well, we do this every year. We celebrate this holiday every year by watching these slave movies. So you get pissed off every day on the day that you celebrate somebody else's birthday. Anyway, well, what's your thoughts on that statement, Sam?
I just feel some people, for some reason, whether it could be things they went through, some people just have to have some type of hate. They have to have somebody to blame instead of taking self-accountability. When I look at him just on the personal side, I'm like, I see your wall with all your accolades, awards. I see that you was the only black person when you was at NASA. I see you're a pilot. I see you've been in law enforcement. Like, I see you winning when it comes to the comedy scene. Like, you have all these things, but
to be happy about
your mentality or everything you say is like we're back in the 60s. And a lot of people say, oh, if so-and-so gets elected, we're going to go back to the 60s. We're going to do this. 2015, it happened. 2016 to 2020. People still got their driver license. People still voting. People, like, I see all these. I see 50 Cent. I see Cat Williams. I see all these people creating their own studios. I see all these millionaires. I see all these people now. And people will say, like, when it comes to sports, professional sports, oh, black people are like slaves and stuff. Look at how the NFL is creating all these black millionaires. The NBA is creating all of these black millionaires.
Yes.
The WNBA eventually, hopefully, you know, thousandaires, you know, but the thing is like, we have progressed so far, you know, to where you have a black woman, the Oprah Winfrey, like, even though she's not my favorite person, look at her. Like, when I see clips of this show called The View, all these women up here complaining, and they're all millionaires. They don't live like we living. They don't experience the things that we're living. You know, so my thing is this: some people just have to have something. You know, I call them grifters. They got to do something to be relevant. Sometimes when you have a full life, I think about Walter Payton. When he retired, people are like, oh, he retired so soon and stuff. He didn't even tell people he had kidney disease. And next thing you know, a year and a half after he retired, he passed away. And when he came up for a kidney transplant, his wife said, he said, I've lived my life. That needs to go to someone else. So the thing is, when you have had a fulfilled life, like, you know, who you're speaking of the post, like, come on, enjoy what you have accomplished, because no matter how much you want to blame white folks and stuff like that, through all that white folks coming at you and attacking you or doing whatever, look at your wall. You on NASA's wall. You on the sheriff's office wall. You're on the local PD's wall. You on Comic View. You on Def Jam. Like, come on, you can't be.
But Sam, you got to still understand. You don't know what that man went through in order to have all of those accolades on his wall. I ain't talking about the comedy aspect, but he's still is not at the platform where Kevin Hart or Cat Williams and all those people, and he was out way before them, or Eddie Murphy, he was out during their time. But I understand I'm sure he's happy and proud of all of the accomplishments that he has accomplished.
I think it has a lot to do with where you're from too. Where you was raised.
Yeah.
He was raised in Humboldt County, Tennessee. Okay.
And what's bad, right?
Okay, and he's like damn near the age of Red Fox. So
I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not diminishing what
Mhm.
he's gone through, but that can't be every day you posting on
Negative.
this old Negro spiritual tip
Oh,
that
yeah.
like that's every day. It's
Oh,
every day. Like I had to like unfollow you, like just because I got tired of seeing "woe is me" when I
right.
personally know your accomplishments. Like he
Mhm.
could literally have a movie or at least a 6-part miniseries on his life, on the things that he has conquered.
yeah, and then too, it's like this. You say what a person go through, but did they actually go through? Because if you still stuck there, you didn't go through.
Well,
You know?
one example, think about Angela Davis. Her whole life had been that she's descended a slave, that
Mm-hmm.
she's Adolf's. That was her whole life. The Black Panthers, everything. She swore up and down. That's what she ran on. She was Adolf's. Well, when PBS reached out to her, and you can still see it on YouTube, they tracked her all the way back and found her people was on the Mayflower. Her people were the colonizers. And
Wow.
you look at it on YouTube and you're like, so when I look at that, I'm like, your whole life has been about you being a descendant of slave when it was a complete lie. Your family, like he showed her the log with her ancestors' name and their signature next to it. So I just think like you know, we just need to be there's a lot of people talking about they ADOS and they just like her. They were their ancestors were the colonizers. I mean, you think about the 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 person who held the most slaves in North Carolina was a Black man.
Yeah. And to Anthony Johnson, right?
And the thing is like the first legal slave master or slave owner was a Black man who sued after the colonies was formed. Like, and I'm not saying that to like highlight them, but the thing is, like, if we want to learn our Black history, let's learn all the history. Don't just pick and choose.
Not just to go up against the white man. And
That's
then like this, the bottom line to me is when you say what I've been through, you ain't go through. You still going. You still getting it. You still stuck there, so you ain't go through nothing. Next topic is similar. I want to know what's the purpose of an MLK parade? What are they accomplishing but resurrecting past trauma? What really cracks me up is they're singing slave spiritual songs. Wasn't MLK against slavery? Some folks I said some folks just love misery. How would you comment to that? Okay, I'm gonna read a couple of the comments. It said, normally, this young lady, she's a film producer in Atlanta. She said, normally I don't comment on stuff like this, but if that's what we choose to do, how is that bothering you? I replied, who said it was bothering? I said, it's baffling to me how folk are still slaves and stuck in the past and keep reliving it. She comes back and says, shaking my head, tisk, tisk, tisk. I dare you to say that to Jewish people with my suspicious face, where you and your people from? I said, we're from where we don't want to be now, like y'all are. She called me a separatist, used the word, N word. Y'all explained when you said y'all, that explained everything. You just told me everything I need to know. Enjoy your evening. It's just with my statement. I'm gonna go back to my statement. What's the purpose of MLK parade? Let's start with that one. What's the purpose of MLK parade, Marlo?
It's a celebration of a civil rights activist and leader, someone that signifies the epitome of Black people in America, freedom, right? Power, intelligence, goodwill, footprints in the sand to lead you to the righteous place, right? Because you have a dream. So a lot of these activists, these civil rights activists that put their lives, families on the line for us for however many decades they fought on foot for us, they still should have accolades. There's nothing wrong with having a parade. That doesn't mean we're bringing up something that was traumatic to us. That's a celebration. It's not to bring trauma, it's to bring celebration, that we thank him for doing what he's done. We thank him for being on the Mount Rushmore when they show his face. He's a, you know, Martin Luther King, he was very important to the civil rights movement. He's very important today.
But I'm saying that I'm not saying he wasn't important, but I'm saying he dead and stinking. He don't know. He don't even know that you celebrating him.
How do you know he doesn't know?
The Bible says when you die, you are conscious of nothing at all. All right. What? Okay. And then what's the purpose of singing slave spirituals?
Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, I don't even know any slave spirituals.
No, they were saying that they sang slave spirituals all the way from what's that, Salisbury Street, all downtown, all the way, the whole trip.
They sang the Negro national anthem, probably, right? We shall overcome.
No, they were singing slave spirituals. What's that one? That one I hate the most. The one I hate the most. Oh, you know that old woe is we shit. Anyway, we got a comment right here. Somebody read that comment for me, please. That's Julian. That's your boy in South America.
I really think a lot of people need to study MLK, and it's going to be a different story. Still, we can't forget what Blacks have been through. I hate to say it, but MLK was a planted seed. Goodbye.
Yeah, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Evidently, you haven't seen the MLK files. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. That's a whole different topic.
Why are we trying to bring up?
Oh, okay. Julian, you are 100% correct, my winner. Everybody that don't want to study that, don't want to read that. Okay.
Sam,
what's the purpose of an MLK parade? And what are they accomplishing by resurrecting past trauma?
You know, I think like Kenwana McCrae, MLK parade celebrate Dr. King's life, his legacy, and what he stood for. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I remember when, you know, no matter what I went, where I was, I used to do those walks at 5:30 a.m., you know, the march and stuff. And what also always threw me back it's supposed to be a celebration, mm-hmm. but everybody's singing songs to like try to put you in a mindset. And it takes me back to like, if you ever go to DC to the African History Museum, and you ride that escalator all the way down, and as you're going through the centuries, the years, the brothers in there narrating, very powerful. But then when you hit that first floor at the very bottom, the wood, like a lot of people don't realize, the wood on that floor came from the actual ships, you know. So when you walk on it, it's creaking. When you hear the sound of the water and the waves and all that stuff, and you hear that wood as you walk, it's supposed to like put you back, so you kind of understand the fear, you know, that visual and what you're hearing. I look at MLK Day as a time for people to celebrate. Mm-hmm. But I see so many people that, you know, they're like the post you posted earlier, I'm gonna hate every white, all them blue-eyed devils, and you know, like, you're supposed to celebrate. If you're really honoring him, how you think he lived his life or what he stood for, you honor him by reflecting that in your own life, trying to be a mirror in your own life.
He didn't hate white people.
And I don't see people doing that. Well, I think that's why he was kind of taken out, because they saw when these Jewish people, white folks, Asians, everybody was starting to you know, starting to like support him, you know, and I see in one of the comments, you know, we all know that MLK was not perfect, as we all are not, which I think is on, you know, it hits the target right in the middle, because I don't hold MLK up on this pedestal. I don't hold a lot of people up on that pedestal, because when you hold people on that pedestal, they let you down.
Mhm,
You know, you
mhm,
start
mhm.
finding things. And I tell people, when it comes to King, there's a reason why I think his family was fighting to keep those files closed, because they wanted the perception of their father to be perfect, to make no mistakes, you know, not to know about infidelity, not to know about the back door would deal with JFK, you
Who
know,
cares?
to
Yeah.
get him out of prison.
If
You know,
he's supposed to be, if he's supposed to be a leader, if he's hold on, if he's supposed to be a leader and setting an example, you should care. But anyway, go ahead, Sam.
I don't
No,
care
I'm
about
just-
his private life. Why do
and-
I care if if he had an infidelity? How
Yeah,
many
but,
people
no,
on here has had it?
look, he human.
Right.
You know, at the end of
don't
the
care
day,
about
that's why I don't hold when I see people talk about, oh, that's Bishop, Dr. Reverend Deacon Doug.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they
yeah,
hold,
yeah.
oh, that's Pastor Jamal Brown. Oh, he's a, oh,
Right.
that's Al Sharp. They hold all these folks up
In
on
high
these
regard.
pedestals.
Right. And
And
put them
that's-
on their wall. And
and
put them
that's
on their
the reason
wall and
why-
idolize them.
And that's why so many people are leaving organized religion,
Mm.
because they're seeing, when Drewski did that video about the churches, he was spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep. Sure
And
was.
people up there hating, pastors up there saying, oh, that's a thing. No, he exposed. So now when people come to your congregation and they see all the smoke signals, the fog machines and all the lasers, you know, when you're talking about Jesus Christ, all you need is the dang on Bible, and it's its own, it highlights itself. You don't need all these lights. To me, you need all these lights, all these lasers, all this fog machine to cover, to camouflage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people are starting to leave organized religion.
Okay. And another thing, Marlo, your birth name is Marlo Gibson, right?
Yep.
Okay. Would you like to be honored or have a celebration for Marlon Brando?
What does that have to do with me?
I'm asking you. Do you know Do you know Martin Luther King real name? It's Michael E's King.
Mike. Okay, I knew it was different than.
Right.
I know a lot of people got stage names. Something that's
Yeah, no. We're not talking about a lot of people. We talk about a doctor, PhD doctor at that, minister, an activist, a leader. Okay. All right. So would you say, okay, if we celebrated Marlon Brando Day, but the name is really Marlo Gibson, we'd be celebrating the wrong person, wouldn't we?
Not if I changed my name. No, you wouldn't be, because I have someone close to my family that changed their name, their middle and their last name, because the father didn't raise them, the mother did. So they took on the mother's name and redid their middle name. So that means they're not still the same person.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about Michael E's King's father changing their names because of a Protestant Lutheran priest in Germany?
I mean, at the end of the day, I know people named Shaquille.
Right.
Named after Shaquille. I know people that's their first name was Jordan to commemorate Michael Jordan. I know people that couldn't afford to get a Lexus, so they named their child Lexus so they can at least say they got a Lexus. So
that's crazy.
I don't like, he has no control. His father was inspired. You know, I just tell people to remember his father and he was brought up in a household that despised the Kennedys, that despised a political party. But when his son's life was like, he knew his life was going to be taken when he went to prison. Even though he was judged by a jury of his peers, which happened to be all white men, but it was his peers. They sent him to maximum security. And when his family found out, his wife found out, and the people that was, following him, they called the father, and the father was like, hey, I need to do what I need to do. So he called JFK, who was a senator at the time, and said, they're about to take my son out. They're sending him to a place that has all these Klan members and stuff. So I know he's not going to make it. So Kennedy is like, well, what you going to do for me? And to me, that when I hear people say, oh, things switch, all of a sudden, there's no more history on political registration. There's like that stuff is just wiped clean. But he got out, and next thing you know, his father and him was all about JFK. And I think that's the reason, that's another reason why JFK got taken out, because remember who was in JFK's party? It was those guys with the hoods. So I think it's just a lot of stuff, but when it comes to somebody's name, I don't hold it. I'm going to say Martin Luther King, because legally his taxes and all that stuff says MLK. People rename their kids all the time. I look at your daughter's name. You name your daughter, Sergio, what you named her because you wanted to commemorate certain things, certain feelings, certain blessings.
Right.
So I don't hold nothing that his old name or his birth name was Michael. As Marlo said, people change. I know some people that they went through a name change.
Yeah, no. It's nothing wrong with name changes. It's just that
it was.
No, I didn't act like nothing. This is no act. This is real.
No, but right? you brought it up because. Oh yeah,
No, I brought it up because it was being discussed heavily on my timeline.
Oh.
All right, because a lot of people did their research and they know that he's not really Martin Luther King. But yeah, I mean, you are what you answer to. That's the way I look at it. But if I in my opinion, I feel that if you such a doctor, reverend, pastor, such and such and this, why would you not commemorate your true ancestors, your real ancestors versus a German priest? All right, but anyway, moving right along. Did anybody else have anything else they wanted to discuss on that? Did I miss any comments? So if so, put it back up there. I'll address it right now. I think we're going to discuss because I'm trying to jump around because I'm trying to save Timothy and Val's topics for when they come on. All right. So I think we're going to go ahead and skip to this one. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm doing it correctly. All right. Now, I want to know, is this a form of racism or not? All right. Send that to you. So, yeah, I just sent you to you. Pull that one up. Pull this one up. And this came from a high-ranking person. Very high-ranking person. As a matter of fact, a lot of people think this person could go for the presidency. Okay. Pull up that statement, what I just sent you, Sawyer. Okay. I want a female to read this because I can't believe she said that.
I don't think she said it.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay, now that comes from Liberal Tears. Do you think she said that, Sam? Or do you recall or remember her saying that?
Can't hear you.
I think those words may have come out her mouth, but that's the problem I have with quotes like this.
Yeah, because
You
it's too
don't know.
one line. Yeah.
You don't know what was said prior. You don't know what was said after. So to see,
Right.
I avoid white-owned businesses, and you should too. Like, it could have been in the context of where she has said, well, my old mentality used to be I avoid white-owned business, and you should
Right.
too. But now
Right.
I've evolved to where, you know, this is America. You know, you don't know the full context. That's why I don't like anytime, regardless of who it is, I don't like short quotes like this because
Right.
you need
Right. They could be generic. But anyway, guess what? My engineer don't play. He got the full clip of that interview, and he's gonna try to minimize it to the before and the after. So we're gonna have to. Here you go.
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like and I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. You know, I think we can all do some work to think about, if I hear and make it a point. You know, I think we can all do some work to think about that balance in our wardrobes. You know, what does our closet look like and who's in it?
Mm-hmm.
Who are we supporting in it?
Right.
Yeah. So basically, just like you guys said.
That wasn't it. I'm still looking for it, Fitz, but
Oh, okay. But still, like Sam and Marlo said, that one-liners, them one-liners, yeah, and a lot of these memes, they falsified too. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody can make a meme. We can make a meme. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that just caught my attention, and it was intriguing. So I want to hear the whole. I would like to hear the whole interview to see if she really meant that, or what was said before then, or after that. Did I miss any comments? If I did, can you put them back up so I can address the commenters? All right, and dealt with this. All right, hold on. Who sent me this one? Oh yeah, that's Val. So I have to hold on to that one. Okay. Let's see what this is.
I will say, while you're trying to find that, one issue that I'll say this while you're trying to find that, one issue I have with wealthy, ultra wealthy, and when I'm talking about people net worth $1 million. When you're saying that you're not on the same planet as regular folks. You don't listen. You're not around the same people. Everybody I know that makes it, they move out the hood. They no longer in the hood. Like I'll hear pastors say, "Oh, I grew up in Baltimore on the street," but you haven't been to those streets in 20 years unless you had security with you. You know, so like you're not like a regular Joe. You know, you're not like a regular person that's, you know, you're totally different. You got your meals prepared for you. You don't have to worry about washing dishes. You got the maid for that. You're not doing laundry no more. You got somebody, you got your assistant that's taking stuff to you. You're not worrying about watching your back because you got Secret Service details. You know, so I just think, like, anytime when I see people hold what famous folks are saying in high regard, it's all questionable because they don't live in the same world that regular folks live in.
And don't think that way anymore. Neither. They're just like a lot of my NFL friends, a lot of my celebrity friends. They said, "Dude, man, I be wanting to help, man, but I can't go back there. I got to do donations through underground. I can't even let it know it be me, you know." And they just, or they'll pop in and pop right out. You know, sad to say though, but you know, it's like an endeavor to escape the hood. All right. Since we're waiting on Val, I'm gonna send this one to Sawyer. Sawyer, what I just sent you, just pull that up and let that run out. I believe that's only a minute and a half, I think. It's called The Voice of Change. This young lady, she spoke some really deep stuff.
Black Lives Matter. Until it comes to this black life right here. See, this woman's name is Dakara Thompson, and I bet you've never heard of her before. That's because she was killed last year by an illegal immigrant. Her killer, Hugo Hernandez Mendez, 35 of Bowie, was charged with first and second degree murder for the death of Dakara Thompson. You see, Dakara was brutally raped and murdered by Hugo Hernandez, which ICE confirmed he was an illegal alien from Guatemala. But it's crazy because I didn't see any national protests about this. I didn't see any riots. I didn't see cities burning to the ground over this. This was a tragic, senseless act of murder by somebody who wasn't even supposed to be here. And while people are too ashamed to admit it, most people are happy that ICE is out there kicking out people who do not belong in this country. Don't worry, BLM. I'll take the torch for you. I will make sure that we say her name, Dakara Thompson.
That's just one example. That's just one example. But it triggers something to me. Where's BLM, Black Panthers, NAACP, any of these organizations with our local gangs and our local neighborhoods? All of a sudden, Black Panthers, so they could be recognized again and get notoriety again, want to go up against ICE. But they don't want to go up against the Bloods, the Crips, the folk, the Gangster Disciples, the Latin Kings, and who do way more poisoning of our own neighborhood, in our neighborhood. Where were you at? Where were you at then? Why are y'all not taking that same energy protesting about not finding these missing children and injustices to these Black people? Why do you think that is? Where the Black Panthers been all this time, Marlo?
They've probably been there, but they're just not active.
Well, all of a sudden they want to get active because of Trump's ICE agents.
I had a whole segment on the ICE agents. I don't know when that's coming up.
Oh yeah, that's right. We can do that one next. But yeah, we can do that one next. I forgot. Yeah, I was thinking that was Val's. Okay, that's yours. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think society-wise, some of these community and neighborhood watch groups, protection groups, are kind of I guess they may not have felt wanted or needed to be active in some of these types of events or be our foot soldiers through the neighborhoods and protecting the neighborhoods. A lot of those neighborhood watches have kind of gone through the wayside. The hood being on the block, and I'm from up north, so of course the Black Panthers will be in New York and Connecticut and New Jersey, but they will be on the block, and they do be with the gangster because that's who's on the block, and that's who they are protecting the neighborhood from, is from the criminals, is from the wife beaters, is from the drug dealers, from the gang members. So I'm not for sure what their involvement is against ICE. I haven't really read anything as the Black Panthers would be.
Oh, they're starting new chapters all over to
No, I've
combat
seen that
ICE.
they're starting new chapters, but I don't know if it's just to go against ICE.
It's to combat ICE.
No,
Go ahead, Sam.
This new Black Panther Party, Huey Newton's niece already came out and made a statement. She filed a cease and desist order, all taking legal means, because she said it's destroying her uncle's legacy. And basically she said that Black Panthers stand for the Black community, protect the Black community, provide for the Black community. She said this new Black Panther thing, she's like, that's just a money grab. They got Asian members, they got white girls with septum rings, blue hair, like they got Asian, like they got just a whole mix. Anybody to like say something. They got kids out there sitting, with AR-15s and stuff. And it's like, she said that is the farthest thing from them. There's no affiliation whatsoever, because if they were true Black Panthers, they would only be in the Black community. They're gonna ignore if ICE is going to get somebody from Guatemala. That's the Guatemala's issue. Their focus is only on the Black community.
Mhm.
And did you say that some of the new Black Panther members have septum rings?
I mean, I think that's the new liberal
How is that the liberal thing if that's the same thing that the slave master used to pull the big black
It
buck
was
with?
a white girl with that on there, I believe.
Yeah.
Wasn't a black female.
Yeah, it wasn't black. It was, that's the thing. So they can, they can, like, I guess it symbolized that they're a black ally, they stand with us, but, I don't understand it, but that's kind of like, the white liberal female starter kit,
So basically, they're just fraudulent, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think we agree with that. Now let's go with Mouth Almighty's topic.
You see the disrespect, Sam? That is one.
Mouth Almighty.
Live.
Where is Mouth Almighty?
Live and direct.
You got the one about okay, Ice. Yours the one about the 6 children that got tear gassed?
No, sir.
Okay, I think that's Val's. Okay, so this must be yours then. About the new charges of the Florida man charges connection something. That one yours, Marlo. What was your topic? What was your topic? What was your topic, Marlo?
Yeah, it was connected. It was really about Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I got it right here. Bingo. B-I-N-G-O. All right. Here we go. Oh, I hate her voice. Good
but
God.
the reality is that y'all never let
There it is,
I
Sawyer.
go.
There it is, Sawyer.
So I'm gonna
Let's run that. All right.
get offended and try to say I'm too black, but the reality is that y'all never let the fact that I am black go. So I'm gonna be clear about one thing. I know my good black history, but this looks like modern day slave patrols. And they have been sanctioned by this Supreme Court.
What does that do to
Hold on a second. What did I miss? Did we start that from the beginning, Sawyer? I need to hear that. I need to hear that again, and I want to make sure the viewers hear it again. Do that one more time for me, boss.
Get offended and try to say I'm too black, but the reality is that y'all never let the fact that I am black go. So I'm gonna be clear about one thing. I know my good black history, but this looks like modern day slave patrols. And they have been sanctioned by this Supreme Court.
Okay. Wow. All right. First of all, I guess she's saying y'all, the Republican Party. And we know she's black because she's loud as hell. I hate her voice. Boy, good God. We went from the giggler to the screamer. And we gone from the giggler to the screamer. So now we got the battle of the screamer. I can't talk about the giggler no more. We got to talk about the screamer. All right. Anyway. Anyway. Bye-bye, Kamala. Hello, Jasmine. Hey. Oh, boy, that's rough. What is she saying, Marlo?
Well, I was saying, I wrote out myself because I knew. So, kind of her phrase with modern day slavery compared to what the ICE agents, what they portray the ICE agents is doing out here on foot. First of all, I don't agree with that statement that it's like modern day slavery because the law enforcement officers and those that were out there trying to control us socially was vigilantes, was lynchmen. Of course, some of the law enforcement officers participated in some of their actions. It wasn't law enforcement that was doing all the lynching. It was vigilantes during that time frame. But I do.
Yeah, but they're not trying to keep them and put them to work. They're trying to get rid of them. And the slave master wasn't trying to get rid of them. So yeah, go ahead, Marlo.
Well, they were kind of trying to kill you. But I do understand.
No, they didn't want to kill you. They didn't want to kill you. They needed you to work. But go ahead.
Some of them. But historically, in this country, law enforcement has been used to control the movement and labor, especially in communities of color. And when enforcement becomes so broad and aggressive in such a large pace, and they're detached from due processes, it kind of stops feeling like they're trying to protect the public and make the public safe. Then it turns into more of like a social control. And I think that's what people are feeling. They're feeling oppressed by the current presence of ICE. And to start from the beginning, just to understand what ICE is, which a lot of people may not know, they just all of a sudden ICE, and you thinking it
Ice, baby.
like,
Ice, baby.
Just invented when ICE has been here since 2003. They are part of Homeland Security. We love a different part of ICE because ICE is broken down into two components. You got the Homeland Security investigations, which everyone loves that part because those are the ones that crack down on human trafficking. They crack down on child exploitation, financing terrorism, things of that nature. But the ERO part of ICE, which is the removal of immigrants that are civically should not be here, that is where disruption and disconnection comes. And people think that ICE is just there to remove the criminals or people that have criminal records, but ICE is there to remove people that have stayed longer than what they were supposed to stay. And 70% of those people that are detained, deported, or put in these detention centers are pretty much people that have overstayed their welcome, and they're just trying to get their paperwork sorted out, some of them, and some of them just should not be here, and they have to send them back to where they came from. Unfortunately, I'm not anti-immigration and I'm not pro-immigration. I'm just kind of like
I'm pro immigration, and actually, I feel like if you ain't done nothing wrong, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
What you do, it's not done nothing wrong. And they don't realize they've done something wrong if they have let their paperwork run out. We have 2 people in my job that they're renewing their paperwork, so they can't work here legally.
You mean to tell me something?
But we can't sponsor their visas. They have to finish getting that process. One of my close friends from India couldn't work for 18 months because he was getting his paperwork processed, and it's just taken a long time for it to get processed. But in that time, if they were looking to deport him back to India, they could, and he would just have to wait until his paperwork was completed.
But how can you forget something so important?
I don't know. So I think they just be working and living life, and and living the American dream, and just forgetting the same kind of way probably we forget if our registration run out on our car and we're like, oh my God, it's 2 months past due. I didn't even realize.
I must be anal because I do mine to 90 days before it's supposed to be done.
You're good.
Yeah. So I must be anal as hell. Sam, what do you think? What do you think of the? She's not the screamer. She's the whiner. The whiner. That's her name. What do you think about the whiners? A segment we just played.
I think things change. If you can post what I just sent you.
Oh no.
Facts, baby.
This right here is Obama awarding the presidential medal to a guy named Tom Homan. And the reason why he gave him this award, because he helped Obama break the record for deportations. That's literally what he did. So he awarded him, and everybody was up in praise, and they was supporting it and all that stuff. But he did such a good job that Trump hired him to do the same exact thing. And now you see a lot of this stuff going on. But one thing that he said at the very onset of all this ICE and all this stuff going on, you can take it down now, sorry. But he basically said that if you allow us to go into the prison, to go into the county jail, to go where someone, in order to be at the county jail or the prison, you had to have breaking some law outside of immigration. So they put detain orders on people that have removal orders. And there's like 1.5 million people in the US with removal orders. So it's already been adjudicated. And some of these go back 10, 20, 30 years. Just people chose to ignore it. You know, people chose to take their chances. So when he said, if you let us, if sheriff's office, the mayors, if you allow us just to go, it's going to be safer. We pick them up. And this is an example of what he was talking about. In Minnesota, in the time they've been at Minnesota, they have taken 10,000. 10,000?
Last I read, it was like between 60 and 69,000 that's in detainment right now.
I'm talking about a lot of people can get detained. Like if you spit on an officer or impede, you can be detained. If you're not showing, I'm talking about deported. Like,
oh yeah,
it's been about 10,000.
Yeah.
Now let's shift over to Texas. In the same amount of time, Texas has deported 40,000. The difference between Texas and Minnesota is all the people are listening to the governor and said, if they in the prison, they have a detainer, you call ICE. They're not banging doors down. They're not doing, the only time they're banging down doors if it's HSI, as Marlo mentioned earlier. Child predators, you know, people trying to meet 13-year-olds and stuff. That's the only reason why they're going in on doors in Texas.
Yo, what's good?
Tennessee is that same way. So the thing is like if Minnesota would just allow them to go to the jail, they wouldn't have to go knocking down doors. They wouldn't have to do traffic stops. They don't have to do those things. If they said they're going to start with the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
The worst of the worst most likely is going to be in the jailhouse. They're going to be in the prison. So the thing is like if all this could be eliminated, and John Holman said it a couple of days ago, it could be eliminated if you just allow us, you have access to the system that shows who has a detainer and who doesn't.
Right.
And
And
so I just think they're creating an issue because they need something for 2026 to run on, and anything is fight whatever Trump does. And most of black folks I know, there's a reason why downtown Raleigh, you ride down there.
I hear you, Raleigh.
And you see people protesting for, you know, to go against ICE. 90%, 95% of those folks is white folks. You only see a handful of black folks out there.
But the funny thing, Sam, about all of this is they only wanted ICE. Well, people thought ICE was only going to be at the borders, stopping people from coming over from Mexico. That's why they thought ICE was invented 10 years ago. But again, ICE has been around for 23. Yeah, it's been around for 23.
I don't even think they thought that. I think they knew. No, Trump said specifically he was going to get people. He said he was going to close the border and get the ones that was running around free. First of all, I want to say,
and the thing people don't realize, Border Patrol is in every airport.
It is.
Like in Raleigh, Border Patrol is there. Tennessee, New York. Border Patrol isn't just on the border. It's guarding every entry into the U.S.
Yes.
And they have ICE officers at every airport. You may not see them walking around because they know people, oh, ICE is up here. ICE is up here.
Well, they just got to Virginia, I think. But the other thing which states, the only thing I don't like, just, you know, always the chain of command. And I know everyone wants to stand up against Trump. I'm not, you know, I'm far removed from Trump. But just, you've been in the military, Sam, I've been in the military, so you know you have to follow orders. So for all of the police chiefs to come up on the news and telling people, oh, I'm not going along with what ICE says, I'm gonna stand against them, it's just a wrong attitude to approach, because then you're going to excite the people in your community to do the same against ICE, fighting law enforcement officers, and could get themselves hurt. Even though there is a agreement out there, 1,100 agreements over 40 states, and it's called the 287G agreements, where it says ICE, Homeland Security, can come into those states because they have an agreement and work with the local law enforcement, and they're supposed to abide by the federal enforcement officers to do as such. But it seems like they're going against it, and they have agreements to do so.
I think Walsh and Frey should suffer some kind of consequence for not allowing the local police department to do their job. And that's just the ICE job, is to go in, get who's illegal out.
Mm-hmm.
They already impeding and obstructing justice by not letting them come into the prison. Okay? And into the jails to get those. Even the ones with the detainees, they're not.
Oh, they're not?
No. That's the issue. Chicago and Minneapolis, and some other states too. You can't, they won't let ICE go in there and get them. And ICE is having to catch them when they release and come out. So where they release to the neighborhood. So they got to go to the neighborhood to get them. But it's not ICE's job to have to do crowd control.
No.
They're not trained for crowd control.
The police are supposed to do it because they have an agreement with them to do so.
But Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, and Walsh, the governor of Minneapolis, is telling the police to stand down. That's where all these issues are coming from.
Yeah, this is one thing. Sorry, I just sent it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're about to see a whole lot with Minneapolis between the chief of police and the mayor. The mayor is already in trouble. I think they've already been subpoenaed to Congress. The mayor, the governor, the attorney general.
They already been charged. Yeah.
So they're being investigated.
Right.
To me, charges are coming.
Right.
But one thing that the chief of police for Minneapolis has come out and said, so you'll bring it up because you know I don't like short quotes. But if you listen to him speak, and it's about 36 seconds.
Police have secured the crime scene around the location, and the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, as well as the FBI, are on the scene processing the evidence. There's a crowd gathered in the area, and we have called for mutual aid from the Minnesota State Patrol and Hennepin County Sheriff. The crowd is engaging in unlawful acts. They have thrown fireworks at police officers, and at multiple times, gas has been deployed. Police are attempting to disperse this unlawful assembly at this time. I urge anyone that is at the scene to leave immediately.
And guess who that is behind him? That's Frey. Isn't that Mayor Frey who ordered them not to show up?
Exactly. That's the reason why the mayor may fire that police chief, because now that police chief has done other interviews where he's gone from we're gonna fight, we're gonna fight against ICE, because a lot of people don't know his wife is Muslim. She's I think she's like a bodybuilder. She's into fitness, but she's a lieutenant, I think, for the Newark, New Jersey Police Department. And so he has a soft spot for anybody, I think, you know, as far as like the Muslim community. And I think that's why he was 10 toes down at the start of it. But now when you're throwing fireworks at law enforcement, federal law enforcement,
see,
there's players that firecrackers have blown off their fingers. Like they're literally a ordinance.
Right.
They're literally a weapon. So now you have all these people, and this is the thing that people don't understand about the regular metro police or the city police. Federal supersedes them. So if they fight, they go against them. As long as it's lawful, they're getting federal charges.
Mm-hmm.
That's why anybody, when you obstruct federal officers, like all these people are saying, oh, I just was standing there. And then they find out video came out showing them spitting on the officer or doing those things. You wasn't just standing there. But the thing is like they're inciting all of this stuff. Along with, there's probably people that are supporting it, because when you see all the organized signs and all the, somebody's paying for all of that. Them people ain't, they don't got money like that because they've been protesting for months, so they ain't getting paid from a job. I remember when Palestine, that stuff ended. They was interviewing one guy on the street, and they're like, "What you?" He was like, "I'm sad now because I like being out here protesting and stuff. It makes me feel good, and now I don't have anything to protest." So some people, that's their life. They like that. They like animosity. They like conflict. And I just think I believe the charges will be brought up, not just for all the fraud going on there, but for these mayors pushing back against these federal people, just literally just doing their job.
And I think it trickled over to Chicago. Didn't the Chicago mayor, chief of police, say something similar to
he came out there, but he was a little bit more firm. But
yeah, he was more firm. And who's that? Brandon Johnson is the mayor, right?
And I believe Brandon was standing right behind him, looking scared. But that's just the thing, is like, just let them do what they doing. Like, if I got to renew my license every 4 years or every 6 years or whenever, I got to renew my registration. I got to get my car inspection every year.
Mm-hmm.
I get it done because it's that important to me. And I'm not trying to get no tickets and have to spend half a day in court just to get it dismissed or ask for a prayer for judgment or something.
Mm-hmm.
If I do that, America needs to be like all these other countries. If you go to Abu Dhabi, you go to Dubai, you go to Saudi, you go to Indonesia, you go to Japan, and you talk against that country, like what people are doing here, you are out if you're not in prison.
Mm-hmm.
In Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia, they're putting you in prison.
You see the girl that went over there raising her voice or did something in the street over in Dubai, and they locked her up for 6 months?
Oh, you see what they did? You see what they did to the giggler? Let me hear the giggler.
What they do to the giggler?
You see what they did to the giggler? She can't go back to Africa because she tried to bring that gay agenda over there.
Yeah, they kicked her out.
Who, Kamala?
The
giggler. Yeah.
That's why I tell folks, they set her up
for failure.
Like, they restricted her, and I think a lot had to do with Jill Biden. They kept her in the corner. They sent her to Africa with $100 million to try to bribe them into all these presidents in Africa to like start incorporating women empowerment and LGBTQ stuff. And they all kicked out, like, keep your money. Like, we have our culture, we have our beliefs. You're not going to bring that to us. Like, they just said, I'm going to be honest. I think the last administration hurt her so much.
Yeah.
Because they kept her in the dang on corner. Now, if it would have been,
I think that Ciroc vodka hurt her the most, though.
But if it would have been the mayor of DC, Browser, she wouldn't have sat back. She would have said, no, I'm not about to sit here and do nothing. I need to do something that that can be acknowledged, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be running for office next. You know, so I just think, you know, it's one of those things, like, to me, they hurt her. Joe and Jill hurt her more than anybody else.
Oh wow.
I just been informed we got a hell of a lot of viewers from my engineer. I want to invite the viewers to share, comment, subscribe, like, and even if you ask to join the show, we got enough room today where we will insert you into the show. We only got a few more. We only got a few more topics. So anybody that wants to come on in. But at least leave some comments. Like,
look at Jillian Capple's last comment. Some states have deportation.
some states in the United States. How did he know that? He in South America. How did he know that?
Before you finish doing time, like Virginia.
Okay, that's been in effect for years. Matter of fact, as soon as you do your time, you got to get the hell up out of that state. Yeah.
Well, they already have, it's public records. So ICE has a whole, I think, like 200 people. They know when court dates are, immigration court dates. They know when people are getting released from prison. So they know to be there at the gate waiting for them when they come out.
Right.
You know, like that's how they're able to show up at immigration court as somebody that has already been denied, you know, and they're doing an appeal. So a lot of these times when we see people in immigration court, they're coming out and ICE is grabbing them up. A lot of those are appeal cases that they lost. They already had orders for deportation. And you got an agent that's sitting in the back on his phone, his BlackBerry, and he's like, "Hey, dude coming out with the red and white shirt, his denial his appeal just got denied. Go ahead and snatch him up."
Yeah, immediately. But
they already had due process.
It would be much easier if they would just let them go in there and because it's just too much happening. It's getting out of hand. I'm gonna send this here, Sawyer. I want you to pull that up right quick. It's getting out of hand. Children getting harmed by bad decisions from their parents. Pull that one up about the father with the 6 children after the ICE thing. Okay. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Somebody read that, please.
Father's 6 children in hospital after ICE agents throw tear gas at their car amidst Minneapolis protests.
Go ahead. Continue.
Sean's 6 children, aged between 6 months and 11 years old, were said to have been taken to the hospital with breathing problems after an ICE agent threw tear gas at the family car. So why did he throw tear gas at this man's car with children inside?
When ICE is conducting a raid, it's blocked off and in a certain amount of radius. Okay. The whole area is blocked off. If Sean hadn't cross or impede or try to obstruct justice, he put his children in danger because of his mentality. The children are innocent, you know? So it's a lot of shit happening that ICE is getting blamed for, but it falls upon the parent. The parent does shit. He shouldn't have had his 6 children out there. When they're conducting a raid, trust and believe no cars can come through there, or not supposed to come through there.
Yeah,
and
you know,
they there. They make it known they there. Okay, that's not enough though. Let me show you something else though. Okay.
What did you say, Sam, about that one?
No, the new playbook. I just sent Sawyer something, but basically, a lot of the protesters they're definitely organized, but they're basically pushing the limits to see how far they can go without breaking the law. So now the thing is that people are bringing their children and standing at the front of the protest.
That's insane.
If you put, and this should be child CPS, child endangerment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Definitely.
what's happening to it with people who frankly aren't from here coming in and telling us who should be here. And when it comes down to loving my neighbor, I'm just going to love my neighbor. So
You have a little peanut with you.
I do. This is Lola.
Lola, and why was it important for you to bring her?
Lola about to go
Just
to
to
Lala,
feel the
man.
energy of love and
Ice.
community, and to show people that I'm not going to let someone else intimidate me to live in a city that doesn't represent what I want it to represent. I want to be able to bring her in a place where people are saying we love our neighbors.
Minnesota is, I grew up here, it's known as a very welcoming place. Can you believe your eyes? Can you believe what you're seeing happening on the streets?
I mean, no, and also I have to, because if I don't believe it, I'm not going to take action, and I think it's important to stand up for what's right and show up the way that I would want someone to show up for me.
It's amazing. And what's your name?
I'm Molly.
Molly. Thank you, Molly. Thank you. I hope you make it back. Thanks.
And what do you
All
know?
right, shit. Molly been taking Molly's. Shit, that's what she been doing. And
what do you
Lola about to go to
notice
La La Land. Huh?
What do
Hey,
you notice about
Sawyer,
that?
disregard what I just sent you. That's the same thing I sent. All right, go ahead, Sam.
What did you notice about that? All white folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there it's already leaked that they've been told if they have a child to bring that child to the protest, because that's supposed to keep them from throwing CS gas canisters, the rubber bullets and all that stuff. And to me, any parent that does that, CPS, because when they start blowing all them dang on whistles, if that's not causing hearing and just the trauma, it's like I was watching a video earlier of a protest. Dog was sitting in the back seat, and she started getting anxiety. Was shaking. I turned around, I hear her breathing hard. So if it's doing that to a dang on dog, imagine what the damage is doing to a baby.
And see, a lot of them are getting paid by. Sam, did you ever find out what that Chinese billionaire name is, the one that's paying the protesters to do this?
I know Soros is doing a lot.
Yeah, Soros. A lot of them are getting paid to do this. I mean, because when they went to that hotel, clanging them pots and pans and trying to come into the hotel, there were people, tourists, and other people standing in that hotel that was scared for their lives. Let alone the ICE agents, they ain't scared. They got they protected, really well protected. But but they got families too, though. The ICE agents got families too. And then they wonder why they got masks on and all that. They got to have masks on, because their families are getting threatened. Well, I'm with you on Sam. I didn't go that deep with it though, but I'm with you 100%. CPS should be involved with it. If a parent bring their child to a protest such as that, basically any protest. Yeah, but something especially like that, that's crazy. The Bible says it's a time and place for everything. All right, go ahead. What did you say, Marlo?
I was just saying also, a lot of it, do they really care about us, Black and brown and Hispanic people getting deported? It's all about economic disruption.
Right. Not only that.
Their businesses. They're not pulling in the money because the people are not coming out buying. They're pulling the kids out of daycare. They're pulling the kids out of school. They're not going to work. So your production is not getting done.
Because you can't be going to work if you're doing that. Right. Yeah. You can't be going.
Yeah. It's an economic disruption. That's all that boils down to. They could care less if I live next door to them, because they just was harassing us 3 years ago about living next to them.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, moving right along. Let me see what else we got up here. How do y'all feel about Don Lemon? Because we getting close. We ain't got but like 12 more minutes. Do y'all like Don Lemon? Do you like Don Lemon?
I don't know too much about Don Lemon.
I'm getting ready to tell you a lot about Don Lemon. Do you like Don Lemon? Do you like Don Lemon, Samuel Blue?
Honestly, I used to when he was first, on the scene, because he used to talk a lot about accountability for young Black men, like to pull their pants up and, like dress like they got sense. Look,
it's funny you said that. It's funny you said that, but go ahead, keep going.
He used to be like that a lot, but I think he just went he really began to transition, I think.
Is he LGBT?
Hey, yeah, hold on. You messing up my
Yeah.
comic view, Marlo.
Oh,
You're messing up my comic view. This is the comic view. Valerie didn't come on, so we'll save it for her till next week. She's had problems with her router. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Sam. What was your thoughts of him
Yeah, I think he began to change when
he came out?
after Trump first became president. That's when a lot of people just changed. You know, in 2015, 2016. You know, so I just think it's, you know, when you're famous like that, you have to go with what your audience. You know, you have to get validation from your audience.
But
And
why?
that was-
How could you go from telling young black boys to pull your pants up to now you tell them to take it down? Put it up there now, so you put it up there. Read that right quick. Read that, Marlo.
yes.
Read that, Marlo.
Don Lemon constantly complains online about blacks being screwed by white men, then goes home and literally gets screwed.
Damn. So he went from telling young black men to pull up their pants to now telling them they could pull them down.
Hey.
That's sad there, right there. Hey. But this is the Winners podcast. That's right. We ain't got no more winners on here straight like that. I think this was kind of a heavy one for the commenters. I mean, for the commenters. Julian, appreciate you. You're always in there. Kwaman, what the Kwaman, Sam? Kawan.
Dr. Kenwana McCoy.
Yeah, we appreciate your comments also. Stephanie Wade, we seen you looking and you ain't say nothing, but that's okay. Angela Johnson, we see you looking too. But anyway, thank you guys and appreciate you. And let's keep all these people in our prayers, y'all, man, because nobody's perfect, especially not me. You know. And you ain't have to agree on that, Marlo. Marlon Brando. Yeah, I need to change that. Ain't nothing masculine about you. But anyway, yeah, I really appreciate you guys. Thanks to all the viewers. Please like and subscribe and share. Peace, love, and hair grease.